I learned so much today. Inside scoop for real. Hi, this is Mimi. I'm thrilled to share that today we're going to be interviewing a fellow NBC contestant, not American Ninja Warrior, but a new fitness show that recently aired, produced by Sylvester Stallone and the creators of The Biggest Loser, NBC Strong. I have here with me today Sarah Miller from the Red Team.
Hi, Mimi. How are you? And how is everybody else?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time to come here. I'm really excited. We have a lot of topics that Sarah is going to talk about, especially in terms of her experience with the show, her transformation. I mean, you lost 4 dress sizes, which, I mean, you look phenomenal.
Thank you.
So I definitely want to hear about that. And she's also willing to share a bit of a sensitive topic that she discussed in the show about her eating issues in the past and being bulimic. And at the end, we're going to share, to lighten the mood, some fun news because Sarah's such a great sport. So for everyone who has not had a chance to tune in yet, Sarah, can you please tell us a little bit about what is the show?
Sure. So the show premise is 10 girls that all are in an average shape, a little bit below average. Basically, those girls who keep talking about losing that last 15, 20 pounds and to make themselves like to that next level of fitness, but they never actually do it. And 10 male trainers who have done this before with many other people. So they kind of take us under their wing. We train together, we compete together, and we learn from them, and we kind of gain that physical and mental strength needed to maintain that superior level of fitness.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know all that background. I just saw like 10 women, they pick 10 trainers, and they get in their best shape of their lives.
Yeah.
And I saw your episode. Why did you pick Drew, and like what was the hardest obstacle that you felt like you faced during the show?
So picking the trainer was probably the hardest obstacle. You know, we only had 2 or 3 sentences from each of these men to pick from. So we're in this situation where we don't know anything about them. You can't just pull out your iPhone and Google them and find out if what they're saying is true or find out what their style is, or what their abilities are. So I guess I deductive reasoned my way. I didn't pick Chris because he was too good looking. That was like my first initial thing. I was like, you're just way
smart.
Yeah. I wanted someone who was at least like my height in case like we were in challenges that, required us to be of like similar height. I knew that could be like a possibility. So I tried not to go shorter than me. And I think like Matt was a little shorter than me and Kai was a little shorter than me. So I kind of got rid of them. And I didn't want someone that was huger than me, because if we were doing something where we're lifting above our heads, that's why I didn't pick Benny or Leon. So it was between Adam and Drew really for me. Okay. And I didn't pick Adam because I thought we would be the worst like clashing of a team, because I heard him speaking a little bit before we started filming, and he was just like talking to everyone and like talking about himself, and I was like, oh god, like this is never gonna work.
Okay, so now you're bringing up a very interesting character for people who have seen the show already. Yeah. What were your thoughts, during that first time when he basically, chose Benny and Cece, I think it was, right, to go to the Elimination Tower, and he went against his words, and it was just so unethically. I mean, people said it was, what was your reaction? Or what did you think of him?
I have the inside scoop because I was in the room moments before that. Like, you obviously don't see everything. Yeah. And I don't believe this is revealing any, like, show magic. This is just a conversation they didn't air. Okay. We have a recovery room where we have, like, a physical therapist, and we kind of, like, have foam rollers and Normatec machines. So we were all in there kind of recovering, not knowing who was going to be going to the tower. So everybody was just preparing and getting fine-tuned. And there, people were on different tables. Benny was foam rolling on the ground. Me and Cece were by like a massage table. And I don't know if Benny didn't see Cece in the room or he was just being like, I am male, hear me roar. But he said, send me to the tower. I want to go. I'll take it. I'll go. And Cece just looked at me and was like, and she left, and because you don't see this part, but she said we had already picked Gray when you said that. We were 100% set on picking Gray, but then when Benny said that, Cece changed her mind within moments of having to choose.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
so when you say that, I'm just kind of surprised with Benny's reaction to the whole thing.
Yep, it gets really,
Okay, that's TV for you, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets interesting with Benny. It becomes a very interesting character because I believe I'm a good judge of character, and I kind of put you don't see a lot of my personality on the show, but I really put myself out there right from the beginning. I'm abrasive, I'm brash, I'm loud, I'm outspoken, I'm honest to a fault. And I think with Benny, he was the hardest person to read because you never knew if he was like just this genuinely nice guy. Another thing you didn't see is that when Cece and Adam lost their balls in the competition where the balls, he offered to give them one of his.
Oh, really?
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
So like he risked Jill and him losing. But if they wouldn't allow it, it was against the rules.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But it's but see, to me, that's like, is that a nice thing or is that like a gameplay? Like, look how great look how nice I can be.
That's true.
That could be interpreted. Nice
that could be interpreted two different ways. You're right.
Very negative.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, that's so nice. Yeah. Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. So speaking of, I actually saw that and I was like, wow, that looks so hard. So this was a challenge where they were basically hanging upside down and they had to grab like 8-pound medicine balls and crunch up and throw into something for 10 minutes straight. I mean, that was crazy. And I remember hearing you say that your strategy was do like 10 and rest, 10 and rest. I mean, how did that work for you? And then if you're thinking about all the obstacles that you had, was that one of the most challenging? Yeah,
that was definitely the most challenging, especially specifically for some of the men who had back issues. Like Todd talks about how he hurt his back when he was younger, and it was really hard for him. A couple people cut their hands and were actually like bleeding on their partner. Like what? You don't see that
from medicine balls.
From hitting it on the metal, I think, or something. But here's what happened.
Oh my gosh.
Some of the there was two things that played into that. Height for the man, like I said, I looked at height.
Yeah.
Was huge plus because somebody like Wes, who was very tall, like probably 6'3", all he had to do was literally just, Jasmine didn't really need to crunch all the way up because the way it worked is that when he reached back, he could just grab the ball out of her hand for her just going like this.
Oh.
So, and somebody like Benny who has that full extent of strength.
Yeah.
They just grabbed it and then they have athletic ability, so they were just tossing it. So it was like nobody was actually doing full inverted. Oh. So me and Drew, because our height different, like we are the same height, so he couldn't like grab it. So we had to do complete full crunches.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and it was
That's so tough.
Yeah, we got really close though. Wow. We really worked hard on that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I definitely didn't take it though as far as Jill. Like I have to give it to her. She was able to push herself past that point of like when you throw up and you're on the edge, and I wasn't. I didn't.
You didn't get to that point.
No.
You're like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
The Elimination Tower. First, I have two questions. Number one, how did you feel when you got chosen to go? Because it didn't seem like, based on what Adam said, he said like, no, he's not going to choose you guys. And the look on your faces were like, oh my God, what? We're going to Elimination Tower?
Yeah, well, to this day, me and Drew are still friends, but I don't know if I completely trust Adam or Drew. Drew told me earlier that day that Adam kind of gave him the winky wink, like you're okay to work out, because most people didn't really work out hard on the days we had the tower because we didn't know who was going, and you don't want to show up to the tower after like a hard leg day
of course.
Well, we thought we weren't going, so I did a 2-hour arm workout.
No.
Yes.
Oh God.
2 hours before we had to do the tower.
Oh my God.
So I think that's kind of where, and obviously there's not enough time in a show to tell all of this, right? But that's why I actually had on, I don't know if I had compression sleeves on, and it was because I was trying to like help the soreness of my arms, and I think there were some parts where it kind of hurt me, like it was really, I almost slid off the wishbone because they were
because you didn't have your skin as friction.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not only was I sore, but it like also hurt me there too, so it's hard. Yeah.
What would you say was the hardest obstacle there? I mean, you guys were so close. It was like by a few seconds that you guys didn't beat the other team.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. Like I really thought I had it. I really did. And like I really didn't consider losing an option. So it was like kind of even worse when you have that mindset going in. But the hardest one was the top, where what they did was, what the purple team did that we did not do, was there's two, I don't know if you could see this on the show, but there's two ropes at the top. So you're not only pulling one side of the strong up, there's two sides of the strong. Oh, okay. So me and Drew each took a rope and started pulling, and it's so heavy. So
How heavy was it? Was it like
It
two?
was so heavy. When I
Was it
started,
like 220 or something? No, I don't remember.
I mean, I would guess like each section of Strong must have been like 50 pounds. So like 50, then when you get the next section, that's 100, then when you get the next, that's 150. So, but Purple Team did it together as a team. They did one rope and pulled it all the way up. Then they got the next rope and pulled it all the way up. But me and Drew did it separately, so it took us longer because then he finished and had to come over and help me rather than just use both of our power.
So do you think that was kind of like a strategy flaw in a way?
Yeah, of course. I think it was. For safety issues, we get like a kind of general idea of what's going to be in the tower. So we knew that there was going to be an event like that. We just didn't communicate like really well, and we knew each other for how like a week, 2 weeks. That's hard to build that kind of like communication with someone that's short. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so rooting for you, and the thing is, you were like so far ahead, and it's like, how the heck did the other team catch up?
Those, I think Matt must have like. I guess he must be religious or something. I think like God came and like lifted him off the ground because he was literally 2 feet off the ground jumping. I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's okay. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, you never know what's gonna happen in reality TV. Sometimes you think people are gone, and sometimes they're not. So we'll see.
Yeah, but it seems like you got a lot out of this. I mean, let's talk about your transformation. I mean, you lost 4 dress sizes. How long was the actual taping of the show, the filming, and I mean the entire experience, and you know, what did you get out of it?
So the filming of the show was 3 months, around 3 months, a little over 3 months. And we got to go home on our own for about a full 2 months and continue the transformation by ourselves. And you know, me and Drew kind of lost touch for a while after the show. We had a little bit of a disagreement, falling out after things ended. And we had like a little bit of a, I don't know, different views on things. You know, he was really into cardio. He really wanted me to do like an hour of fasted cardio in the morning and like an hour of cardio at night. And like while I was at the ranch, like that was fine because I really didn't have anything else to do. But it really just wasn't giving me the body that I wanted. Like I think when you're in TV and you need to see a result, that the building of the muscle is such a slow process that the number one thing you can see the fastest is just the getting smaller. And I think had I had been really muscular, like somebody like you who had a great foundation, there would have been a great plan because I would have been leaning out and I would have been revealing muscle. But I really didn't have that. So I think what I was revealing was just I was getting skinny again, really, you know. And you know, you really see that in the end result. Like I was very thin. So I think for me, when I got home, I really said, this is about me now. I have tools, I have time, I have the motivation and the goal. So what can I do? How can I modify my plan? And that's actually how I found your channel. Oh my God. Because I was researching ways to, you know, get fit and muscular without having to do all this cardio and stuff. So that's how I found your channel.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. Yeah. So wait, I have a comment about that. But first, you said you had you said the entire transformation was 3 months, but you had 2 months to do it at home yourself.
We went home December 8th, and we had to go back like mid-February 10th or something.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a break in between the filming. Okay. So this leads to the next really interesting point of how we reconnected. Excuse me, I'm a little sick. So Sarah and I actually met at the gym at one point, and we recently reconnected because she sent me a comment on my YouTube saying something like, "You seem really familiar. You remind me of this girl from the Rockefeller gym." Yeah. And I'm like, I am that girl.
That's so funny. That's true. We met because we were...
Isn't that crazy? It
really is crazy.
It's so crazy.
And it's actually even crazier because like I'm not even doing this to plug myself, but I recently wrote a book about dating this old billionaire I met at the gym, and I also met him at Rockefeller Center gym. So it's like everything is like in the moment coming full circle. It's really weird.
That's so weird. I wonder what this all means.
But yeah, so when I met her, I was on another like mission to get really skinny. I was doing a transformation for a diet pill company. I had like was like 20 pounds underweight. I had lost my period, and I was still in that zone where like I thought I looked good and I thought I was doing the right thing. And I looked at you and I was like, wow, like she lifts so heavy, and like how does she do that? Like I could never have the motivation and like the drive. And that's when we talked about diet, and you were like, I told you what I ate, and you were like, oh my God, like I can never do that. Yeah, so I was doing the wrong thing, of course, but now I'm really just focused on lifting and doing what actually changes your body in the long run, not just temporarily.
That's so great. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So what would you say you learned out of this experience other than the wrong way to do it?
Yeah. I realized that like every single trainer, every single fitness expert, every single instructor, everybody has a different philosophy. And also they have a different body. And it's like, one of the things I don't know if I agree with the show, especially with dieting with men, is that men diet very differently than women. Like the majority of the trainers on the show had a protein fat only diet. If any carb at all.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I'm all about carbs.
Yeah, me too. And I'm not saying that Drew's way is wrong. Yeah. I'm sure for a lot of men that really works. But I get really, I don't know what it is hormonally, but I get severely depressed. Like when I don't have carbohydrates. It's not even about energy. It's like my sleep isn't good. I get really depressed, really depressed, like to the point where I don't know what's wrong with me. But then I eat a carb and I'm like, oh, I feel better. So I learned what I learned from Drew, and he's an amazing trainer. I don't think I'd ever be able to a squat as good as I can today. Yeah. I have people to come up to me in the gym and compliment me on my squat, and I'm like, oh, that's Drew. But awesome. when it comes to finding an all-around coach, you have to make sure that it's going to be hard, of course. Like you're going to, when you're dieting or with something, it's going to be like you're not going to be able to eat your favorite piece of cake every night. But you have to find someone that is in line with, what you want to accomplish. Yeah. And you can't just shut up and not talk. And I know you've gone through that with coaches before, where they tell you exactly what to do and you do exactly what they say, even in spite of maybe getting negative feedback from your body.
Yeah. See, that's why I feel like she's touching on a really good point in terms of what I'm all about, but it's really about being able to be flexible with the way that you eat and finding a way that works for you. That's why my brand really advocates, there is no one magical diet that works for everyone. So for some, maybe their bodies are not really tolerant of carbs and they do well on a high fat and protein diet. For others, they need it, like you, for example. So I think everything should be customized in terms of the diet coach or even the training coach, the kinds of training you like. I mean, a lot of times people ask me, how do you keep going to work out 5-6 times a week? And it's about choosing the exercises that you actually like to do. Yeah. And the same thing with the dieting. It's about eating foods you actually like to eat that fit your lifestyle, and your goals.
Yeah. So and for me, I noticed I follow a lot of YouTube girls, a lot of fitness, and one of the things that did not work for me, and especially even with Drew's plan, is that they're so educated and they're so well versed that it's overwhelming. And you get these plans where it's leg day and it's 3 pages of exercises and it's 3 circuits and 6 exercises per circuit. And I got to the gym and it was almost like you look at the sheet or you're trying to remember and you're just you're just okay, fine, I'm just going to run on the treadmill because you're so overwhelmed. And if you can't afford a trainer, one thing I've learned to do is I pick 2 really big, heavy compound moves, and then 1 or 2 slightly challenging, easier moves. So I'll take squats, and I'll take split squats, and I'll take step ups, and I will just do those 12 each or something in a German loading style program where I'm just in a circle for an hour until I cannot move anymore. So I know the muscles are fully worked and I don't have to remember 100 million exercises. So I'm not, but I learned the form from Drew. So it's not I didn't learn anything from the experience. I just modified it to make it more sustainable for me.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say this. I think this speaks to this concept of being too advanced for your own good. I mean, even in terms of dieting and training, there's so many ways they could be more advanced. And it's you don't need to do all this crazy advanced stuff. Just do the basics of what works and then progress from there.
Yeah. And see the result, because it's why do 100 moves you don't really need to start doing so many little small technical moves until you're so lean that you can see like every muscle in your body, right? Like that's
unless you want to do bodybuilding, then you
Yeah.
really want to see every single muscle, like I am right now, 2 weeks out.
yeah, you're so stressed.
I just
keep my jacket on because I don't want to show my arms next to her.
I just took a selfie this morning. I was like, yay, quad separation.
Yeah, I had a thigh gap for like a day.
My last YouTube video was an interview with the posing coach, and we were doing the front pose. And
I would even like separate your quads slightly,
what do you mean?
like
like
create a
that?
bit more of a gap. Yeah.
Like that? Well, I don't have enough of a gap there.
See, I have bow legs.
Oh, see,
So-
your legs are different.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, people are like, where's your gap? I'm like, I don't have one.
All right.
I actually have a story about that. When I was dating a very wealthy billionaire, and he was very hard on me about my body. He'd always wanted me to lose weight, and even when I was skinnier than this, he was always like, telling me if I gained weight, he wouldn't like me, and it was terrible.
Oh my God.
And he sent me. I was like, well, maybe I should just get lipo, and he's like, I think that's a great idea. And I was like, you do? And he was like, yeah, find someone and I'll pay for it. I'll pay for everything. So when you're a girl and you're a little insecure, you're like, okay, fine, then you're going to pay for it. I'll do it. So I went to one of the best surgeons in New York, right off Central Park, and I got naked and I showed him my legs, and he looked at me and he said, I can do this for you, but you're not genetically programmed to have a thigh gap. I'm going to have to remove muscles from
God.
the inside of your thigh.
I'm getting chills.
Yeah,
This is ridiculous.
he said that, but he said you could do it. He was like, I'm not advising that we do it, but it's doable.
Please tell me you didn't.
Oh, of course I didn't do it. No.
Good. I was like, oh my God.
My legs still touch the whole way down. But he's like, we can do it, but you're going to have to completely remove some women just have a very muscular inner leg, and I do, and he said we have to remove them, and I was like, okay, I think I'm good.
Yeah. Oh my God, thank God. So on the show, you mentioned a really sensitive topic about your past eating issues, and I think it was like 13 or 14, and someone made a really, really cruel joke.
Yeah.
I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about that and how you overcame it and, where you are today?
Yeah, it was crazy. I never really even realized I was fat until they started making fun of me. And then I was like, oh, yeah, there's something wrong with me. I think that happens to a lot of kids, whatever it may be, It's your hair, your weight, your family's income. You're so naive and so happy as a little kid. And then someone points it out, and then you're like this, you're like painfully aware that you're different or you're not perfect. And I think that's what I had, and I just wanted to make that feeling go away, and I would do anything to get rid of it. So that's when a friend showed me how to throw up, and I thought it was like the best thing ever. I was just like, this is it, this is what people do to be skinny. So I got really skinny, then I got a boyfriend from a really in shape, cool boyfriend. I got cheerleader. I got to work at this ice cream stand where all the hot girls worked, and I just had it all. But of course I was miserable, and of course I was throwing up, and of course my parents found out, and it was basically ever since that point an up and down cycle for me. Then I gained weight, then my boyfriend broke up with me because I gained weight, and then and then I lost it, then he liked me again, and it was this terrible cycle of up and down. And I really put weight on. Freshman year, I could not eat. This is true. My parents paid for a meal plan, and I could not trust myself to go to the cafeteria to eat with anyone. I had to have my parents put money on my card to eat at the cafe where I could get portioned out food, because I was not strong enough to go to the cafeteria where I had unlimited access to things and eat. So I never ate in the cafeteria with the other kids. I have to go to the cafe.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so horrible. You have no self-control.
Nope.
And the fact that you even know that you have no self-control, that you have to do other extra measures just to keep yourself in line.
Yeah, I did. And I still gained weight that year. I only threw up a couple times, but I remember I would go to the floor below me, because I lived in 6 floors of all girls. So if I went and binged or something, I would go to the floor below me to throw up. And I remember the one time I came back from a party, I probably drank a little bit, and it was the end of the semester, and they had all these girls had thrown away all their stuff from their dorms. A lot of people had left already. Yeah. And I'm walking in, and I find, this is a true story, it's disgusting. I found a big bag of someone's Easter candy. So when's Easter? April. And so this is beginning of June, end of May. Yeah. I took the entire bag of Easter candy back to my room. My roommate had already moved out, and I ate it must have been 3,000 calories of Easter candy by myself in my room, drunk. This was freshman year.
Oh my God.
I don't even think I threw that up. I was probably too lazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
no self-control.
I mean, what did your parents say or do when they found out? And like, did other people know this?
You know, my mom really sprung into action. She really wanted to help me. But I'm one of those people where, you know, I had to help myself, and it didn't hit me, and I didn't stop until my orthodontist said, Sarah, I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know if you're eating a lot of citrus fruits or something, but you're losing a lot of enamel on your teeth, and you can't replace your enamel. And like, just like that, like some people have high bottoms, low bottoms. Like everyone has a different threshold. Some girls say, fuck it, I don't care. Some people smoke crystal meth, they start to lose their teeth, they still smoke it. Some people find out their teeth are falling out with bulimia, they still throw up. All I had to know was that something was happening to my body that was unfixable. Yeah. Because weight is fixable. Yeah.
I'm really getting chills right now.
Yeah. You can gain weight. I actually could show you. I have the scars on my fingers from throwing up. Like they're here and here.
Yeah, I can see them.
Yeah, and I used these ones a couple times. They're from, And I realized that I couldn't replace my teeth.
I didn't know you could get scars.
Yeah, I met another girl like that too. And actually one of the girls that did she's the one that showed them to me. She's like, I have these scars on my fingers.
And that's just from like the acid?
No, it's from your actual fingers hitting the teeth right here, because when you're putting it down your throat. Yep. And so when I realized I couldn't replace my teeth, but I could lose weight, I'm like, if I gain 5 pounds, I can lose that. But if I throw up and lose my enamel, I can't buy enamel. Like, it doesn't matter how rich you are. Like, you can't replace it. So at that point, I was sold. I never threw up again.
Wow.
Never again. It just like that. Stopped completely.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I'm so glad that
it was my
I hate to say, but it's like there's always some sort of rude awakening.
Yeah, it was really purely vanity that saved me. Like if it wasn't for my teeth, if no damage could ever have been done to my teeth, I don't know. And there was the vanity too of like the swollen neck and like the broken capillaries around the eyes. Like I take a lot of pride in my appearance, and I didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah. I remember, I guess my parallel story was when I had the yo-yo dieting issue and I almost died, but I blew up. Yeah. I blew up with 33 pounds of edema in my body.
I wish I had more photos
and I know, you know what the thing is? I was so depressed. That was the photos that I took of me blown up. That was me half deflated. Like I was bigger, and I remember my boyfriend at the time. Like I was like, maybe I should take a picture of my entire body, but it was like I was like a real life Pillsbury Doughboy.
I know, but
I wish I took it. And I mean, the picture of my foot, I just did it because I was just like, whatever, But now I'm like, I wish I took more. And I did. I actually took a picture of me like in work shoes, and I look like a pig, like pig's feet,
It'd be your most watched video if you had like.
It was crazy. Like I mean, I wish I could see myself fully blown up.
I wish I could have seen you day by day progressing down.
Oh my God! And here's the craziest story. There's two things that stays in my mind. Is one of my best girlfriends walked by me in the street and she had no idea it was me.
No.
That was number one. Number two was this girl that I did boxing with at one point, and she saw me again at the gym, but she didn't say hi to me because she told me this later. She's like, I thought you were your fat sister. Like, oh my God, And the worst thing is, this and it's like I guess a vanity thing, right? But no one could tell I had a medical condition. So they thought that I just got really, really fat. So that was even worse. Anyway, so that took like 4 depressing months to get rid of.
Wow,
that's
terrible.
Yeah, it was really depressing. Hence the 180, and now I'm here.
At least you came out of your house though. When I gained weight my freshman year, and I had to go work at the ice cream place with all the hot girls, they kept calling me to come into work, and I pulled it off. I said no, I wouldn't go in for about 3 weeks until I dropped some of the weight because I was too ashamed to leave my house. Yeah, we've all been there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like... So there have been times where I felt so fat, like in high school and stuff. I've done everything. I went through a diet where I would take sleeping pills, over-the-counter sleeping pills, when I got home from school to try to sleep through dinner. That was like my plan.
Through dinner?
Yeah,
so that you don't have to go like with other students, you're saying?
No, like I would come home from school and like try to stay awake for a few hours and then take sleeping pills and try to sleep all through the night to the next day so I didn't eat dinner.
Oh, I see what you're saying. To skip dinner. Yeah. Oh man, that's extreme.
Like,
yeah.
I always say if I didn't care about my looks, I probably could have like cured cancer by now. Like I put all my energy into like.
I remember talking to like other yo-yo dieting girls who go to the gym a lot. And, we get fat because of our eating, not because that we don't work out. Yeah. And you get so embarrassed because you see the same gym people again. Like I literally would have to start going to like different gym locations. So like nobody knows me at this gym. And then, okay, now I got to go. No one knows that I'm not this fat here,
And I honestly, I completely get it. I even now after gaining back like a few pounds from Strong, Like I'm kind of over it now. Like I don't really care, but I see other girls going through it. There's like a show in April in Chicago, and they're at my gym working out, and I'm just looking at them, and they're getting like almost unrecognizably thin. And I'm like, oh well, can't wait to see her rebound. Like it's just coming because like they just take it too far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did the same thing whenever I gain weight, it's so hard. It's like, why do you care so much? But it's so hard.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to build the muscle.
Yep,
I mean,
agree.
I'm so proud of the fact that I can eat like 3,000 calories on my leg day and not get fat.
I eat 2,400.
It's so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm like the heaviest I ever weighed in my life. And people are like, wow, you actually tell your weight? I'm like, I'm so proud of the fact that I weigh so heavy, and don't look it. And that I can eat so much. And it's such a great proof of like, look at me when I was like 114 and I was eating like 1,000 calories.
Yeah. So that you can eat that many calories and not have to do 2 hours of cardio that day to burn it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like you could eat that, and it's just to maintain the muscle in your body. One of the best things I learned on Strong was from Dan, and he's like, whenever I get hungry now and you're like, oh, I'm not going to eat, I'm hungry, I'm just going to fight it. It's like, no, because the first thing your body is going to burn is muscle. Because why? Because muscle is more expensive real estate to keep than fat. That's what he told us. Like, I don't know if that's true, but it made sense to me because it's like your body is trying to survive all the time. It doesn't want to die. So it's like if muscle takes a lot of energy to store on your body to keep, that's why you need more calories when it's on your body. So it's like if your body's trying to survive in a famine, what's it going to eat first? The muscle, because it takes more energy for it to survive.
Okay. So I have a few thoughts on that. I don't know what the real true answer is. I feel like there's a lot of varying thoughts from different thought leaders. So this kind of goes into the topic of fasting. And for the ones who follow me, I do a form of intermittent fasting. There's so many different types. So this is like opening a whole can of worms.
I've tried it.
But I do believe that it depends on how much available fat energy you have. And at what point will it switch over to muscle? Yeah. So I mean, in a day's worth, I don't think it's going to start eating into your muscle unless you worked out and you didn't like anything, then it would start eating into your muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you just see, like my rebound this time was so small and I eat so much. Like I'm even impressed with how much I can eat. Like like I said, now I'm eating like probably a pretty steady 2,400 calories a day comfortably. Like that's, what I need bare minimum, and I can maintain like my weight now, which is like 155.
Okay, I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, which I start off with.
So how tall? Oh wow. Okay, so you lost 20 pounds, and how tall are you?
5'9".
5'9". Okay, so 5'9", about 2,400 calories for 155.
Yep. And I love that. Like that's a good amount of calories for me. Like I never at the end of the day feel like, oh, I wish I could have a little more. But if I try to do 1,900 or 2,000, that's when I'm like creeping. Like I'm looking for something. Something's missing.
Yeah.
Yep. I can't do it.
That's great. You've come such a long way.
I know, I have. And I would never think I would used to eat that much. Like I remember when I did Xenadrin, I would like get massages to try to take my mind off being hungry. Like I was so hungry all the time. It was terrible. I went on binges. Like after it was over, I got on a bus once. I called my sister, and I'm like, Emily, I can't stop eating. I'm like, I'm leaning over a garbage can eating baklava from the bread factory, and I can't throw it away. She's like, Sarah, throw it away and get on the bus to come home. I'm like, okay, I'll get on the bus. I got on the bus. I bought a ticket just so I could be unable to purchase food, and I still bought chew candy bars at Port Authority. Okay, I'm eating them and throwing them away as we're getting on the bus. Then when the bus landed, I had my sister take me to McDonald's.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And it was like I like literally had no control. Like I never understood, and I've had substance abuse issues in the past. I've never understood what people meant when they're like they had no control. Yeah. But I had not, like there was no stopping me. Like there was nothing.
But this just proves, the science that food can be just as addicting as drugs, because we are literally, our brains are addicted to fat, sugar, and salt. Yeah. Just like drugs.
Yep. It was really bad. I actually wrote about it. I have like an article about binging where like I took myself through everything I ate, and it was just like probably 12,000 calories. I don't even know. It's just too much.
That's crazy. What would you say was your biggest accomplishment from this? Like, is there some sort of negative behavior that you've been able to leave behind as a result of going on this?
Yeah. Well, for me, I never thought I could work out or diet successfully without a pill or a drug. I've always taken like the most high-powered diet pills, like when like Stackers were out, or like Oxylete Pro, or like at my worst, like Adderall, Viavan, amphetamine. I always took like some type of like high-powered stimulant. I never took like any growth things like steroids, but it was always like in order to diet successfully, in order to exercise, like I needed that boost. I couldn't come from within. I never tapped into it before. Like I never had like this feeling that I can do it on my own. I had to like induce it. And so when I found out I was going on the show, I was like really wrestling with like, should I try to sneak in like drugs, or like how am I going to do this like sober? Because like I've never really done that before. And I think that's my biggest accomplishment. Like I made it through that training camp and through this transformation drug free. And like for me, that's like monumental, because I think once you get in that mindset that you need this in order to do this, like, you know, it's like, I need this drug in order to work out. I can't work out without it. I don't have the mental power. I don't have the stamina. I don't have the energy. And it's like, I found that from someplace else within me that I never did before. So I think that was like probably the biggest. Yeah, even I got kidney stones at one point, and I used to take Vicodin before I worked out because it made me feel like a little bit happier about going to the gym. Like I'd always take some type of drugs, like, and this was the first time I'd ever done something like really clean.
What was it about the show that was so important that you were able to go drug free?
You know, I think for me, I didn't have a goal in my life at that time. I was in a relationship that was ending. I didn't have a place to live. I kind of have like a nomadic lifestyle where like I don't own furniture. I have no debt. I don't have kids. I don't have a career. I don't have like a house. So I think it was just do or die time for me. And I finally found something that I knew I could succeed at. And I have very unique talents. Like they don't always translate well into like practical real life things. Like I don't have like, I'm going to do great at Microsoft Word and QuickBooks. Like I don't know how to do those things. So for me, it was really just, I was approaching it like a job, and I was approaching it very seriously. And I knew I was 100% sure I could do it. And I was 100% sure that there was no better person for the job. And drugs or alcohol or cake, none of those things were more important to me than doing it.
Wow. So this was like an amazing experience for you. I mean, you had like a transformation, lost 4 dress sizes, and most importantly, you are, no longer need drugs to work out.
I mean, I still think drugs are fine. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying.
This might be edited out, by the way.
No, I still think that there's a place for cake, drugs, and alcohol. But I'm saying, like, once you tap into that confidence and do it without them, it's like, you know that you can.
Exactly. And you know what? That's such an important point, because I feel like once you can do something.
The first time you have sex sober.
Once you could do something once, you know you could do it again. Yeah. So Sarah, can you please tell everyone who wants to follow you where they can find you?
Sure. My Instagram, which I love to do more fitness, fun, comedy stuff, is Life of Sarah Miller. And my website is Life of Sarah, where I'm going to start posting more like blogs and articles and just like basically things that I want to get out into the world, so it's more like fun. And my book, which I just finished, and that's about my experience of living in New York City, where I met you, where I dated an 80-year-old billionaire for 2 years and actually managed to date a billionaire and have access to unlimited Whole Foods, the best doctors, trainers, and gained 30 pounds. It's called Dependently Wealthy, and it's on Amazon pre-sale right now.
Okay, I want to watch. I want to read that book. That sounds really interesting. Now for the fun, exciting news that I promised. If you remember Janelle Farah, I did an interview with him in my last YouTube video about posing and flexing practice. And Sarah's such a great sport. Since we're all here today, we're going to do a choreographed posing routine. So stay tuned for that.
I'm nervous.
Hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe.
Thanks for watching.